But once the father dies, I don't know what's going to happen to. My guess is that if he's still here managing the company, you won't be here. And how can we create some kind of dialogue with two people who don't like one another? And tomorrow you'll get an opportunity to review that in your meeting. Two people who have difference of opinion. These two people have differences of opinion. That doesn't mean that he's right and he's wrong. It just means that if they could just sit down and at least talk about those differences. What's the worst thing that could happen? You know, they still go away. What's the best thing that could happen? That in some way they could resolve them. And is an attorney or an accountant or a financial expert going to be of any help in that regard? Probably minimal, right? How many family businesses do you know that are prepared to hire family business consultants, therapists, and advisors to work out these? How many? How many of you have, in this room, how many of you have ever sought out that kind of advice? One person. That really says something about our inability or our unwillingness not to change. And I think until we're ready to do that, all of our families have problems like this. What family in this room doesn't have some kind of problem? It may be different, but it's still a problem. And it doesn't go away by just denial, and I think a lot of us try to make that happen. Don, you had something?
All I wanted to say is it's getting closer to the end, Carl. But until we begin to work more like this,
thank you, Paul.
With working with the management system, the ownership system, which is a financial system, and the family system together, that's kind of what we're seeing is these are the three major components of a family firm, of a family farm or a family ranch, and the need to work together to get a more complete picture. You know, the reason that it's difficult to see what's going on in the family is if your focus is on this or on this, you'll miss this. And so you really need the perspectives. Like I talk a different language than Carl. And Carl talks a little different language than Fred. And Fred a little different than me. And it's our job to put those three perspectives together to provide the answers to those questions that you had. And it's not so easy to do this. But it's terribly exciting. I mean, we were able to show you a family, and that family is in crisis. But it's the only way they're going to come out of it is by things are known now. And so that something will come out of this that will move the family business and the family forward. I mean, it may take some time, but more things are known now.
Sure. And until these other issues are really dealt with, and I think you all of us in this room and outside this room have to deal with it. What's most important? The preservation of the family or the preservation of the business? And can we do both when virtually all of our assets are in one basket? And each of us has to answer that question for ourselves. But we first have to ask it. And then we have to be responsible for that response. And the Internal Revenue Service's interest in your business, as you well know, is pretty deep. But to the degree that you minimize that interest as a result of making gifts, but if you make gifts, you go in the from the frying pan into the fire, and if you don't know these and are aware of these other issues, what's the impact of that? So it is now just about 11 o'clock. I want you just to know that Don and I and Fred are going to put on 2-3 day workshops. They're in the green pamphlets there that you have. Anybody who wants additional information to read, you can find it at our booth in the Coliseum. And I just really want to take this opportunity to thank you all for coming, and I want to take this opportunity, the Farm Credit System, for inviting us in the Farm Forum to have us here. That really takes a lot of guts to deal with an issue that's not that popular, but it's the greatest need. And I want to, lastly, and certainly not leastly, thank all of you who participated, these cast of characters. Could we have a round of applause for them? Would you stand, please? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.